Շարունակում ենք staff.am Career Stories նախագծի ոգեշնչող պատմությունները։ FAST հիմնադիր տնօրեն Արմեն Օրուջյանի հետ կխոսենք կարիերայի անցածուղու եւ ձեռքբերումների մասին։
Long and arduous road. I can tell you one thing, that it was never a straight line. The career path was never a straight line. Life brings you surprises, life brings you new opportunities, and if you're open, then you definitely capitalize those opportunities, and then you move through your career path. I moved out of Armenia 30 years ago, 15 years old. So I was still a high school student when I reached the United States. Naturally, the language was a barrier. I didn't speak any English. Culture was a barrier. Coming from the Soviet mentality, going to a deep capitalistic environment was also something that you needed to acquaint yourself and get assimilated with. And then not knowing anyone, not having any kind of a place to turn when you're having challenges, because my parents loved them dearly. They were not highly educated for them to know what the United States was like, for them to be able to give you proper advices, to serve as a proper coach or a mentor. Graduated, ended up doing a completely different thing than from all the educational background that I had. And then ending up in the international arena completely changes your horizon, and your worldview is through very different optics now. Formed an organization. I get into the world of charitable philanthropic organization, supporting young people around the world for them to do better than I did. But even through that, there's so many changes and new opportunities that come to your world. Getting some positions within the United Nations system, connecting to for-profit, non-profit ventures as an advisor on the board. You start looking and seeing and feeling career path. There is so amorphous, and it takes you places that you just absolutely have no clue that you will travel. But if you're always open to new opportunities, if you're open to take on new challenges, it ends up working out for you in ways that you didn't imagine, but in ways that brings you the peace, the happiness, essentially everything that you were looking for. Well, the first big change, as I mentioned, was moving away from Soviet Armenia to United States. Age of 15. It's like night and a day, going from winter to summer or from summer to winter, it doesn't matter, but it's 180-degree switch in your life. So my first entrepreneurial engagement was when I first understood what money was. You can make enough money. So that was one interesting shift, because I didn't know what that was. You don't know what owning your own business is when you're responsible for things. Where at 16, when I was working, I had to close a store or open a store. Whether you sell, you don't sell, you don't care. You're going to get your money at the end of the week. It's normal. But when you have your own business, it's a very different dynamic. Now, at night you don't sleep, you got to get things done, you have to hire people, you have to make sure that they get paid before you get paid. All of these things were new. For a 17-year-old kid, you're still a kid. One very interesting, pivotal moment in my life was meeting a friend completely in an extraordinary fashion, because I just met him on the street on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, actually, where he was a writer, he was an author, but more so, he was an extremely well-connected individual, which I also didn't realize. But he became a mentor for me for many years, but I didn't know he was. It's like, when I would speak to late Gary Allison, I never thought of him as well, he's my mentor. You just don't know, I'm thinking he's my friend, but he knows so much more than I do. And it's through conversations with him about every subject matter that I came to realize that I don't know anything about life.
Այնուհետև Արմեն Օրուջյանը սկսեց նորից կարդալ, վերարժևորել կյանքը, եւ ահա 23 տարեկանում հանդիպեց ԱՄՆ փոխնախագահ Ալ Գորին, այնուհետև ԱՄՆ նախագահ Բիլ Քլինթոնին, որոնք շատ լուրջ ազդեցություն ունեցան նրա կյանքում։
I went into completely another area of my world, which was a humanitarian initiative. I got involved with the Armenian community on a different level this time. In the United States, every year you have this genocide march on the streets of Hollywood. Well, I founded that movement. So in year 2000, until then there was not anything of that nature. People would get together in front of the Turkish consulate, but I wanted to give a more of a global eyeballs to be on what we're doing as Armenians in terms of genocide. So first year we shut down Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard, in the heart of Hollywood. I had 40,000 people marching behind me the first year, and I made another shift in my life. I decided to come back to Armenia and kind of refound myself with my partners here. That is never a solo process. You absolutely have to rely on your team. Otherwise, you will never get to do anything. The team is one of the most critical things that you can put together. It's your team and the mission of the organization. They're two of the most valuable things that you can have. And they work parallel with one another. Soft skills and hard skills that are related to actual job. They're both tools that people either have or don't have. And having only, for instance, tools that are dedicated to the job itself, but not having the soft skills for you to be able to collaborate, for you to be able to see something through the execution is going to be of a great deal of a challenge. There is still a lot to desire for. And it's normal because for too long the educational infrastructure in Armenia has kind of been compromised for various reasons. There's progress naturally, even what TUMO is doing, and now with expansion of TUMO with Convergence Center. And then we have some programs that we're doing with private sector, with the universities. We have this apprenticeship program that we're doing with Subconstruct, where we give opportunity to approximately 50 young people from 6 local universities for them to go to university, but also get educated on-job education at Subconstruct premises for a year. And then after a year, the company will decide whom to hire and how. And right now they're getting paid as well while they're going through this training. And we're going to be expanding this program starting sometime this summer to go from 50 to possibly 250 people. We've launched already 20 initiatives or so. I'll speak about a few of them. One, we have this Advanced Solution Center that is in our creative campus here, where we are doing deep scientific research leading to commercialization of science. This is a new model we're doing with one of our co-founders, namely Nubar Afeyan and his team in Boston, in the space of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Another program that is very pleased is something that we don't talk a lot, but we do. It's with the military of defense. For our young military recruits, we are training them in AI and machine learning, and we just finished our first cohort, which lasted about 6 months. So now we're preparing for the second one, which is going to be a greater number. Our intention is to make sure that these young people, when they go to the Army, for 2 years. When 2 years passes, they're more capable individuals than before they went into the army. And the army serves as a place that they're proud of. An army is a place where they learn, they get educated, and they get opportunities that are otherwise not available for them unless they're in that environment. I don't know if you're aware, but we have some specific gender-specific programs as well. We recently finished this aspiring female entrepreneurs program. We started with nearly 70 young women, and then we graduated them, turning this people that had no entrepreneurial background, no business background. They've walked away with 19 startup businesses. Now we've created this circular set of projects. Young, aspiring young female entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, they come up, they go into a program where they turn into startups. Then some of these startups graduate into our startup studio using this facility free of charge for the next 4 months or so, coaching, mentorship. And then they go in front of our Angels Network, another entity that we've created. Now there's a chain of young people coming from zero, going into a studio, and then sitting in front of angel investors and pitching their startups for them to get funded. And we're very pleased that some of them already got funded. So we know it works, this circle works. As I said early in our discussion, that it's never a straight path. It's never a straight path. There is a great deal of iteration that the person goes in her or his life in trying to figure out what is that desirable objective that I want to get. And it's very different from everyone. Every single one has her or his own. And it's most cases different than your parents' vision for you, and it's more different than your friend's vision for you or your friend's aspiration for herself or himself. Here you need to find your own path. And it's very important for you to understand what types of benefits you're seeking and the cost of acquiring those benefits before you set yourself on that path. And that's a critical component. And it doesn't have to be monetary all the time, by the way, because not everyone is driven purely for the monetary purposes. You may be doing something because you're getting an intellectual reward. Some are doing this because they're getting financial reward, and others are doing this because they're getting some kind of a network reward, or a combination of such.